guys. Alright, now I'd like to talk about patterns. Different materials that you can use, different ways that you can sort of make a pattern. There's masking paper, which is nice and light, fairly easy to fold around when you're making a panel, and you can get a few shapes. You fold your puckers in and you do the shape that you want to do with the paper. But if you want to use it multiple times, you're probably better off to make a paper pattern, then transfer it on even a bit of cardboard. Now, in this regard, I've done this before, is this particular thing here, it's a miniature mudguard, a little thing that I teach guys how to make little mudguards and things. That's an example of what it is, but realistically, you start out just with a picture of your car or whatever you desire, and you transfer it as good as you can, as close as you can, onto a piece of paper in small size, just to give you an idea, using the different equipment, the wheeler machine, the Swage and that, how to get the shapes and achieve your shapes. Sort of pretty much similar from doing a small job as it is to do a big job. So you may as well have a practice on a small one that gives you it encourages you and gives you the knowledge to transfer onto a big one. So what I did was I drew onto a piece of paper and then transferred it onto the card, and then in that, these little slots here are cut into make the body lines of the car. So this would have a step out for a Swage. You've got the step out for a Swage here, and then you've got a little bit of a flare going on. So that flare is what you want. So you mark out generally most of them on there. There are occasions when you actually don't put extra material on there. You might just put a little, you write in text at plus 25, plus 50 mil, depending on how intricate the pattern is that you want to make. So as I say, for what we're doing for this particular little project here, it's just you lay it onto your piece of sheet metal. Generally on a piece of sheet metal you can either get some dollies and lay it down there, and then you get your scriber, or because this has already had lines cut into it, you don't cut all the way through, you just do dotted lines, and that transfers the marks through to the panel underneath. If you've cut it before, you just grab a scriber and you mark it in to where you want it. So in this case here, we've got a scriber, so set the pattern up. So you mark out the pattern like that as you go. Now I've actually done this before, so for this particular project it's already covered, but yeah, the idea is you don't have to mark all your edges as well. So as I said before, the example of where you don't have to mark is that there's about 12 mil marked all the way around. So you would have your cutout completely full size, and then you would get your dividers and you would have your 12 mil, you mark out your 12 mil like that, transfer that onto the panel here, and then just scribe your line all the way around, and that would give you your folding over edge. Okay, and the same with around the wheel arch here. You don't have to necessarily mark everything all the way around, as long as you know that that's the shape of your wheel arch, what's cut out, and that in that case there's about 15 mils all the way around. Alright, so that's sort of that for that pattern. Generally you have to transfer from one side to the other. If you need to do that, you can do it while the panel's still flat. You swap the panel over, put it on the other side and mark out the other side, because sometimes you've got to do a Swage, and the Swage might have to be on one side on one panel, and then you have to flip it over and be able to see a line on the other side. So if you transfer the image onto both sides, it gives you, where it's supposed to be. Alright, so that's one for the Ford guys, and then there's the same thing here. There's another little Holden one. This is an unfinished one so far, but I'm sort of halfway there. This is for an HG Holden, and just have a cheeky set of flutes there that I can do in the future, but that may be a future project we can work on together. Another thing that I've done is, a little project that I'm working on is, I needed some flames, so I like flames, and you know, everyone's got different styles of flames. I like them sort of nice and thick, and pressing them into metal is a bit my forte. So this is something that I've already previously cut out, and this is for a little future project that I'm working on. So alright, I might just leave that there. Actually, what we might do, we might have a little project that we can do. This is a touring car for 32 Chef, I believe, and it's going to be widened 100 mils. So I have to actually make a pattern of this, and I want to widen it 100 mils. So there's a couple of ways you can do that. You can make the pattern, transfer it onto your piece of metal, draw around one side once you've made it, cut down the middle, move it out 100 mils and then do it. Or you could maybe cut the pattern, fold the pattern with your 100 mil overlap to start out with, lay it on the panel so as it's folded over, mark out the outside of your panel of where all the shapes are, and then once you've done that you can just pull the thing open and just open it out, and that'll give you this sort of a similar thing. Probably 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Everyone's got different ways of teaching that, and yeah, you can make your choice the way you want to do it. So I've got a bit of normal masking paper. This is only sort of a one-off. I need to make 2 sides of these, but first thing I'll do, I'll lay this on, put the eyes on. Okay, I'm just going to mark this down here now. Lay that down, pretty much on the edge of that line there. So that should be straight. This doesn't need to be there, that just needs to be just all the way through, because this is going to be turned into a pickup, for a pickup bed. So what you got there is the basic line. So now over here, just have a bit of a measure. So this is basically plus 35. If I added 35, it doesn't even need to be that far all the way down, but I'm going to add 35 because you may need that extra bit of meat for the thing. So in this case, this is my pattern, so I'll just put plus 35 for that. And then I put fold down. And this is the top. Alright, now to get this mark on this side, there's a swage that runs through there. The swage actually steps down, but in this case we don't want to. We want to have the wide swage to continue all the way through from one side to the other. Now this side as well, I just want to get a rough idea of where the shape is. You can use your pencil, you can sharpen a pencil like that, but sometimes if you don't have access to one of these, it's easy just to grab an old pencil and use the side of the pencil just as a mark, and that will mark the side of where you want. Or you pick up a dolly, and the dolly might have a bit of dirt on it, so you want the dirt down there. There's a few different ways you can do to achieve the same thing. Alright, so and then the same on the inside of this swage here. I want to continue that swage line through there. That just gives me a guide of where it is. Now that rolls over, and you can continue that on this side. Okay, now for the moment we're not going to bother try and get all the steps from where this door panel, this is where the door normally closes on the car, so we're not going to try and get all those in and try and draw them on there, because they're going to end up all over the place. So what I'll do, we'll just measure. Basically that point there is going to be the edge of the pattern, and then once you've got the edge of the pattern, you can just add the numbers together that makes up the edge of the door, and then you can give yourself an idea of how much extra meat you need to leave on the panel. So that's 7 mils plus 10 mils plus probably 35. Alright, 7, 10, 35. Yeah. Alright, let's have to allow another 52 mils past that to allow for my sheet metal. Now don't forget, I've got to remind myself to add 100 into the middle, so add 100 in the middle. Some motorbike mudguards and things that you do, sometimes there's shape involved in it. Now in this regard here, this is a swage. The swage on this particular thing here, I sort of draw in pictures, so the actual shape that I'm trying to achieve down here is a drawing of the rough idea of the shape of what the swage has to be. So I'll draw a line that sort of goes like that over and then back down again, and that just gives you a rough idea from when you're looking at the paper when you haven't got the job right in front of you, to know that that particular line there is the swage line there, and the same with this part up here. You've got yourself a bit of a join along like that, and then comes back down again. Alright, here we go, and I'll just draw this line in up here as well. That's it. Line down there. And then where it comes out the top, and that fold there, we can just work out where that is. Eyeball it down here, goes up and over. So we can probably continue that as well. That's okay, we can have that in our pattern. So then you get to the bottom part of it here, and then it's the same do. Just get your pencil, run along that bottom edge. If you've got big patterns, you can just cut nicks in here and just slap some masking tape on it all the way over, or you know, you can lay some dollies on it, or you can lay some magnets on it. There's all different ways of holding down depending on what size pattern you've got. Alright, so now it's just a matter of trimming this up. Occasionally, if you cut out a bit too much or whatever, you can always stick a bit of masking tape on just to extend it a little bit. Masking tape's also good. I use masking tape a lot if I'm doing like a motorbike mudguard and it's got a lot of compound curve. Rather than putting all lots of puckers everywhere, you just put 3 or 4 layers of masking tape all over the panel, and then you mark out where your lines are, where you might make 2 sides in the top. You mark out where they all are, you mask it all up, then you cut your lines down, and then you actually peel it away. You put some line up marks that you can meet all the different, your sides meet your top piece, and you know where everything went. Or you lay it right down, wrap it around there, and then you peel it away. If it's got to be a big compound curve, you can peel it away. And then you lay it flat on your piece of sheet metal, and then a little bit more material, you allow a little bit more, that when you actually stretch it and beat it in, that you actually achieve the whole shape, leaving a little bit excess material around the outside. You can trim it up when it's finished. Alright, so that's about it there. That's pretty spot on the bottom there, so that's good. And then this part up there, just cut that across there. So okay, we're going to transfer another line on here. So if you hold that down, that transfers the top line of the swage. And then we just continue that all the way through. Alright, so when the time comes, you lay this down onto your piece of sheet metal. You add plus 35 on there, and on this side here, you add 52, and that allows you extra material to allow to wrap around your door, and then you can do your swages and all that wraps around that. Alright, okay, that's about it. So I'm just going to have to cut this, widen it out, and that would be a basic pattern, just something you can do to you know, achieve what you're doing in making a custom panel. Righto guys, so that's about it. Just it's the difference between using a bit of paper if you're doing just a one-off. You can use masking tape, as I say, and they're always good to get compound curve shapes. or else you go to your 225 GSM card if you're doing multiples, and you can reuse it over and over. And yeah, just a few things. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks. Bye.